Welcome to this meditation. Hopefully you've found a quiet space where you can relax and experience your own inner journey. First, settle yourself comfortably. Take a few slow, deep breaths, allowing your body to relax as you continue to breathe steadily. Then notice how you are right now, how you feel. Then come to quietness within. Rest deep in your innermost being. May I invite you now to see yourself in surroundings which are new and unknown to you. Where are you? Perhaps you find yourself in the heart of a big city. Or maybe you're deep in the countryside. However you came to be here, you sense you're far away. And there's a growing uncertainty about how and when you'll be able to return home. How does it feel to be far from home? What does being at home mean to you? Where do you feel most at home? Henry Louis Gates, Jr., editing the narrative history of North American slavery, reveals the plight of slaves torn from their families, their homeland, and even their own identities. He says this: with genius and grace, African American slaves transformed bitter human experience into a beautiful art form called the spiritual. One of the most haunting African American spirituals, Sometimes I Feel Like a Motherless Child, was likely born out of heart-wrenching tragedy, the forcible separation of parent from child. As Harriet Jacobs, an escaped slave, wrote, "On one of those sale days, I saw a mother lead 7 children to the auction block. She knew that some of them would be taken from her, but they took all. The children were sold to a slave trader, and their mother was bought by a man in her own town. Before night, her children were all far away. She begged the trader to tell her where he intended to take them. This he refused to do." The simple, haunting words from Sometimes I Feel Like a Motherless Child include this repeated line, a long way from home. Are there times in your life, in your everyday experience, when you feel a long way from home? Can you get in touch with why that is? But now listen to these words from Psalm 23. You anoint my head with oil. My cup overflows. Surely your goodness and love will follow me all the days of my life, and I will dwell in the house of the Lord forever. What is the house of the Lord? And what might dwelling in the house of the Lord mean for you? How can these beautiful words be true in the light of mass homelessness throughout our world, whether through poverty or disease, and especially war? Is it possible to find the true essence of home in any circumstance? Take a moment. See yourself again in those new and unknown surroundings. Recall how you feel about what home is to you. Could it be that wherever we find ourselves, in whatever situation arises, whether in sorrow or joy, deprivation or plenty, whether alone or with others, we can be at home? Is it possible that we are already living in the house of the Lord? What might that look like? Listen to Jesus' words from the Gospel of John. Live in me. Make your home in me just as I do in you. I've loved you the way my Father has loved me. Make yourselves at home in my love. Writer and priest Henry Nouwen often spoke about Jesus' words of love and home. He says this: Jesus uses these images for a relationship that is, in fact, much, much more than the human images of daughter, son, mother, or father. What is so compelling is that we become like the one we love. Our return home is to relate intimately in spirit with love, and also to become love for others, compassionate, forgiving, creative, spirit-filled lovers in the best sense of the word. How do you respond to these words? And now hear the invitation in this poem called Homecoming. Suddenly, the door opens to me, and falling in out of the icy wind, out of the snow and wind, I am standing, shaking with relief, in some stranger's hall. But where I am, whose shelter I have found, I don't know. All I know is that I am not outside. Above me and around I sense abundance. Tables spread, velvet, wines, soft cushions, bread and warmth and welcome. But the ice is still in my hair, the mud on my shoes, and I am frozen with confusion. I am not outside, yet I bring the outside in with me. Someone is coming. Quietly, he takes down an old coat, wraps it around me, leads me to a wooden bench by a small fire. I can sit with you, he says, in this well-worn place near the door, for as long as you want to be here. And then I understand that this is the son of the house, who, in his love, wants only that I should feel at home. He doesn't speak again, but waits silently while I thaw out in welcome tears, until I finally realize whose home this is. The one friend who could love that quietly, who stood once outside his father's house in the cold and wind, who understands the pain and the bliss of coming home. Light from a small window colours our corner warm gold. I will never have to leave here. The smoothed wood under my hand, the fire's living heart engrave words of welcome. Come back to the room where you now sit. Resting in the quietness, simply open your heart to hear Jesus' words just for you. Make yourself at home in my love, he says. As we draw to the close of this meditation, reflect on what has been significant for you, and if it would help, make a few notes. Jesus' words are from John chapter 15, the Message version of the Bible. The words from Psalm 23 are in the New International Version. Henry Louis Gates Jr. is an American literary critic, professor, historian, and filmmaker. His words here are from the classic slave narratives, which he edited. The African American spiritual, Sometimes I Feel Like a Motherless Child, first came to wide public prominence when it was performed by the Fisk Jubilee Singers in the 1870s. Audiences heard it and could not forget it. It has since been performed and recorded by countless singers and instrumentalists. You can find several renditions of this song on YouTube. Henry Nouwen's words are from his book Home Tonight. The poem Homecoming is by an anonymous author. Go well. Bye for now.